I'm going to look now at, well, in the technique section, look at another common type of question that comes up in part 3. And it's this: what are the advantages and disadvantages of X? Or what are the advantages or disadvantages? They may ask for one or for both. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of the internet, communication, newspapers, whatever? What are the pros and cons of something? So here the examiner is looking for your ability to analyze something and to produce your conclusions about the good and the bad, and to contrast. There's this on the one hand, but on the other hand, there's this. And there may be lists, maybe give one or two advantages. So it's the language of contrasting. So here you may get, what are the advantages and disadvantages of having a regular daily routine? Or what are the pros and cons of getting up early? So in these cases, you're looking for both advantage and disadvantage. Let's look at a model answer to see how we can approach this. Okay. On the one hand, so here I'm presenting the advantages. On the one hand, it can make us much more productive, doing regular things at the same time each day. I think there is some scientific research that supports this too. On top of that, so here again I'm presenting another advantage. On top of that, most people are creatures of habit. So I suspect we find comfort in knowing what is going to happen at each moment of the day. That said, the downside would have to be, so here I'm presenting the disadvantage, right? On the one hand, that said, the downside is, or the downside would have to be, throw in a conditional, make it more complex. Why not? That said, the downside would have to be that we become a bit robotic, like robots, yeah? Life can become boring and predictable. And then to conclude, broadly speaking, whilst it's good to have a routine, sometimes we need. Whilst it's good to do this, sometimes we need this. So there's an advantage and a concession, that kind of an opposite. Whilst it's blah, 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 whilst it's good to, sometimes we need to. So that shows some of the language and how we can structure the advantages and the disadvantages. And I'm contrasting both, right? Some of the language here, a creature of habit, we've mentioned before, somebody who likes habits, and we find comfort in. So to find comfort in something is a really nice collocation. Something makes us feel comfortable, okay? I feel comfortable speaking English. I find comfort in speaking English. It's another nice way of saying it. And finally, this idiomatic expression, to go with the flow. We need to be impulsive and just go with the flow, accept what's happening, accept the situation. Impulsive is not to plan everything, but to just do it because you feel like it. Be impulsive and go with the flow. Okay. That is part 3. So welcome back. We're going to be looking in this lesson again at building your flexibility, practicing some vocabulary and generating ideas for this IELTS speaking part 3 topic, again using mind maps which you can find below. So today we're looking at routines, right? Now in part 3 you may be asked about daily routines, whether they're good or bad and how people do that. You may be asked about productivity, especially at work, and also possibly at home, doing your tasks at home. Work routines is a common one, what people do every day, and the kind of habits that people have, and how you may change habits possibly. Let's have a look then first at daily routines. So here you're talking about maybe setting goals, about how people set routines and why they do that. So some very simple phrases we can look at to practice. Ready? Plan your day. Set goals. It's critical to set goals. Achieve your goals. It's not easy to always achieve your goals. Stay in your comfort zone. Be stuck in a rut. Right, some simple phrases there. Again, if you're not sure on the meaning, get the document below and you can double check it. Okay, now let's go back from daily routines. Let's talk about productivity. So on the topic of, well, the subtopic of productivity, how people are productive in their work often is to do with the different tools that they use or the different approaches. There's a famous Pareto principle, the 80-20 principle, that says basically that 80% of your work is done in 20% of the time, or 80% of the profit you make comes from 20% of the effort and work you do. It's an interesting principle. If you haven't heard about it, go and Google it and find out about it. Productivity is about being distracted, about being focused, about getting things done rather than sitting back, having a cup of tea and watching Netflix again, which is called procrastination. And it's really important to avoid procrastination, right? Okay, the verb procrastinate. Let's practice these phrases then. We've got, first of all, time management. The Pareto principle. It's important to stay focused. Without distractions. We have a tendency to procrastinate. Right, that's it. Lovely, nice, good. Let's come back. Work, routines at work. I mean, we talked a bit about daily routines. This overlaps a little bit with work routines, but here you may be talking about the importance of work routines, right? How useful they are and how you go about doing them, okay? So here are some phrases. Do the same thing day in, day out. Prioritize tasks. Keep you focused on Keep you focused on the task at hand. Okay, that means that something, maybe the Pareto principle, can keep you focused on the task at hand. You may say, I like to keep focused on the task at hand, or it's important for us to keep focused on the task at hand. Don't waste time deciding what to do. Right, of course, because at work, if you organize your work well and you have maybe an action to-do list, then you don't waste time deciding what to do. Have a set routine. Good. Set meaning fixed, right? Is it good to have a set routine? Maybe. Take regular breaks, right? So having regular pauses where you take 5 minutes and go and do something else refreshes you, really important, okay? So work routines, the last little topic is all about habits. Now here, we're just going to look at the kind of language on having habits. Very often you're asked to talk about children, what kind of habits they should have or we should teach them. As parents, what habits we should teach children. And also maybe older people. As people get older, how do their habits change? And is it easy to change habits, right? So we've got be in the habit of doing something. Repeat. Now that's a good thing, right? A good habit. If it's a bad habit, we say have a habit of doing something. Great. And when we learn bad habits, we say pick up bad habits from others. We are creatures of habit. It's good to nurture good habits. Kick bad habits. It's not easy to kick bad habits. To kick, of course, is to stop or to quit, right? Great. So there we've got daily routines, work routines, productivity, mainly at work, and also the habits that we have, whether we are children, parents, or older people. Great. Hope this is helping you. Check out the mind map below. Great. Let's finish there.